All right, guys, it looks like the chaos is unraveling in Chicago. We have word that ICE agents have been ambushed as Trump is trying to federalize and deploy hundreds of troops to the streets to help them. The people coming out in mass, as you can see in some of these images, and what they're saying now is that the ICE agents were rammed and they were boxed in by 10 different cars. This took place in Broadview, Illinois. They're saying that a woman was at the forefront of all this. The police were forced to deploy their weapons and fire defensive shots at an armed U.S. citizen. They're saying the attacker, a woman who was hit, apparently doxed the agents and posted all this online beforehand and said, "Hey, to all my gang, let's F those mother effers up and don't let them take anyone." Then the firefight took place, and the agents kind of scurrying, running all over the place, not knowing where the shots were coming from at first, per the witnesses, but then they locked into this woman, and this woman was then taken to the hospital to get care for her wounds. Chicago coming out saying that law enforcement were attacked, rammed, boxed in by 10 different vehicles, so I guess all those individuals got away that were in all the rest of those cars. But the person with the semi-automatic weapon, the woman shot, taken into custody. And it just looks like this is ramping up, leveling up, day after day, night after night. And, the governor there responding to Trump, saying that they don't need the troops there, although there's chaos, breaking loose in the area. And we've warned about this in terms of the troops, because a federal judge said that Trump broke the law, posse comitatus, in what he did. And Trump basically said they're going to do whatever they want to do. They'll deal with the law later. Okay? So, different judges doing different things. We have an Antifa-aligned Democrat now charged with assault on a federal officer outside of the facilities in Portland. And we have a judge there in Portland blocking Trump's National Guard deployment to that region as well, warning of a constitutional crisis, saying that he's breaking posse comitatus. Others are saying he needs to abide by that. His administration, again, saying they're going to do what they want and deal with it in court later. And as long as they're sending troops into these cities, you're going to start to see settings like this more and more. So I feel like these events are going to continue to escalate. We're going to see more of them in more cities. This is just the latest. Join me for the live stream going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Dabu 77. 9 p.m. I hope to see you.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Quadash, and double honors to those great millstone while I learned his truth, and also to those filat that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the type of day lesson is chaos in major cities across the U.S. So I'd like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So we seen in the opening video, Dabu 7, we seen that these ICE patrol agents was ambushed, and they saying it was by a lady, so it was basically saying that it was like a shootout, and the lady was shot, so we seeing a lot of chaos is breaking out in these major cities, Chicago, one in Indiana, other one starting up in I think Portland, Oregon. He's sending troops there, and he's saying that the governor is, I think the governor, or not a governor, the judge, he's blocking off the street, not allowing the troops to get in there. So we already know that it's setting the stage, for these troops to really get down this is what DJ Donald Trump really wants. And one thing about it, we already know that, all hell is getting ready to break loose. And also we're seeing left and right, things is constantly intensifying in these major cities across America. And one thing about it is coming soon into a neighborhood near you. So we seeing right now that these things right here at hand. Also, Jacob's trouble has begun. We're at the beginning of Jacob's trouble. So we seeing right now that, this devil's getting ready to roll. We seeing right now he's constantly moving in the military, left and right. We seeing it. We're seeing that the vibration has changed. We're seeing that America is what is divided. If a nation is divided, it cannot stand. So we're seeing this right now. So it's any given time, any type of situation can go. We already know. I did a lesson I think a couple of days ago about how they went into Chicago and they did that raid on that apartment complex, and they was zip tying a lot of people and also bringing out people naked and all this. So that, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. So we seeing now that this lady, she was shot. Could this been a psyop or whatever it could have been? But we already know it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. We know some of these things are very real. And one thing about it, we already know they tried to bring forth this new system, this new order. We seeing it right before our eyes. And a lot of our people right now still are not aware, still are being rebellious. And these things are going down right before our eyes. And one thing about it, we know that the judgment has begun. It's going to start at the Lord's house first. That's what we constantly warn you about. This man is getting ready to roll on you. We constantly warn you, which in fact is the Lord's sword. And he's getting ready to use it in a big way. So let's get this here. So that first video was by W7, so this lady, she got together and a lot of other people, they were rising up. So we seeing right now, this setting the stage. So one little incident that can go down, and once it start, it's not going to stop. It's going to be all sorts of insurrection. Just like I said, they're going to be like madmen. A lot of things getting ready. Sedition, a lot of things are getting ready to happen. So we living in some very, very dangerous time. And a lot of people right now, are still don't know what the hell is going on. But you get ready to find out. This right here says here, this one here by CBS News. We're just going to read the title, and then we're going to get a little bit more of this news. I got a news video clip we're going to bring out right here. It says CBS News. It says federal agents shoot woman in Chicago neighborhood after allegedly being rammed, boxed in by cars. DHS says. So it said it was boxed in and different things. So the lady with the fire on them. So we seeing now that who shall rouse them up? I think this was I don't know whether this was a so-called black woman or not, but I'm thinking that she were. I don't know for sure. But let's get just a little bit of this, and we're gonna play that video and probably bring it out. It said federal agents shot a woman in the Brighton Park neighborhood on Chicago's southwest side Saturday morning after they became boxed in by vehicles, said according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Said a woman as well as a man whom authorities say was involved in the chaos were facing charges Sunday morning. It says here, DHS originally said the shooting happened while agents were patrolling, said in Broadview, said where the department has a U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement facility that has been the site of ongoing protests and clashes between agents and demonstrators. So we see it right here. Let's get a little bit more. It said, but officials later confirmed the incident happened near 40th Street and Cardass, I think that's the name of that, and Avenue in Chicago. So that's all we're gonna get at that. But we're seeing these things are constantly picking up. So things are heating up in Chicago, and they're gonna constantly heat up. We know that right now that this, is imminent, that any given day that something like this could go down, and all of a sudden, things can be a war zone. And next thing you got mass casualty, across the board, hundreds, thousands, of bodies of just piling up. So we coming upon that time. That's what the Bible said, So we seeing right now the stage is set. So let's get a little of this video here.
Face-off between protesters and federal agents this morning in the Brighton Park neighborhood. That's on Chicago's southwest side. When it was over, one woman was shot, 2 others arrested. Our Marissa Sulik was on the ground after dozens of protesters reportedly boxed in federal agents.
Today, chaos broke out near Kedzie and 40th Street in Brighton Park. It's the same area Homeland Security says agents were boxed in by 10 cars this morning. When agents got out, DHS says they saw one of the drivers that cornered them had a gun. They say the agents shot at her in self-defense.
Female call station been shot in the arm and legs, and an ICE agent shot her.
Homeland Security says she is a U.S. citizen who wrote threatening messages on social media toward agents. They say she went to the hospital, was released, and no agents were hurt.
The caller was instigating a fight with the agents. Caller told 911 that ICE was shooting live rounds at moving traffic.
Once protesters got to the area, Alderwoman Julia Ramirez says she saw another man taken by federal agents at this gas station nearby.
Since then, there was one car that was at this gas station with a person, a U.S. citizen, who has now been detained.
All morning and into the afternoon, there were tense moments between agents and protesters. There was yelling, objects thrown, and officers spraying pepper balls. Groups of federal agents kept arriving on scene. Within 20 minutes when we got to the scene here, we saw about 4 to 5 undercover federal agent SUVs make their way through the crowd here and go underneath the tape. And each time we saw this, we saw protesters fight back.
They seemingly are doing it every 5 minutes to continue the irritation on people. It's almost like they want people to be provoked.
At one point, a military vehicle pulled up near the protesters, and an agent drew his gun from the roof, pointing it at protesters below.
It look like we're like in the military now. You know, it's like a war zone here.
Chicago police say they were on scene to document, maintain safety, and control traffic. They were not involved in the incident or the federal investigation. In Brighton Park, Marissa Sulik, CBS News, Chicago.
Marissa, thanks, Homeland Security.
So now we're seeing now that, things are constantly heating up. We're seeing that the northern tribe and also the southern tribe, just like the Bible said, you know what I'm saying, they was oppressed together. So we're seeing right now in Babylon the Great, America, so these things are constantly lining up. So now I have some more video, but for right now, let's get this quick, let's get this other news article. I got another news article here. So many things going on, Jay, one behind another. It's another one here, and just happened, I think, in Montgomery, Alabama. Let's open it up. So many things has happened, but the Lord has set up watchmen, to warn you of all these impending things. It says here, this is another one by CBS News. It says 2 dead, 12 injured in Montgomery, Alabama mass shooting. Let's get a little of this one. It says rival gunmen started shooting at each other in a crowded downtown nightlife district in Alabama capital city Saturday night, killing 2 people and injuring 12 others, police said. It says at a news conference Sunday afternoon, Montgomery Police Chief James Graybois identified those who died. And we ain't gonna say those names, but anyway, we see it right here. It said injured. Let's start back up at here. It says let's drop down. I don't want to get too much of that. We don't get too much. Let's get this last little part here. It said police were called around 11:30 p.m. to the Gray Boys described as a mass shooting. So I don't want to call out their name because it just happened. And a lot of these people are still mourning their loved one, but anyone perished being innocent. So this basically was judgment for the Lord. And also we seeing right now that these things are constantly picking up. I start back up right here. I don't want to name those guys because you already knowing about, family of the word fast approaching. Also, they getting ready to come up against the prophet. Also, they get ready to have stricter laws with this what you call this, freedom of speech, so, a lot of things to get ready to happen. They hate him that rebukes at the gate. Said this was two parties involved that was basically shooting at each other. So in the middle of a crowd, Gray Boys told reporters the shooters, he said, did not care about the people around them when they did it. So right here, the love of many is constantly what waxing colder and colder. That's what we constantly seeing each and every day. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. At last, that day shall be so great. So it seems like each and every day we constantly seeing these things are constantly wrapping up. I had another one right here. We're just rolling. We're just gonna read the title of a couple of these. It's a lot of reading, but you can go back and look at these orders. This right here was about a news break. Quick Google search, and it'll pop right up. And it says here, Governor Abbott rallies behind Trump decision to deploy Texas National Guards to Illinois and Oregon. So seeing right here, this governor, he's for it. So, and also there's already rumors that he's giving the green light for them to come into Texas, like Houston, also Dallas. So they're constantly targeting these major cities, the heavy populated areas of the people of color. So we're seeing how these things are lining up, man. These things are, see what else we can get out of here, just reading them also, man, these things right now, it's happening every day. You get caught slipping, you're going to miss out. Because that's why the Lord said we got to stay locked in. It says here, so Abbott authorized Trump call to deploy Texas National Guard members. So right here, he's agreeing to this. So we already knowing that all these governors, these mayors, pretty much everyone that like in this law enforcement, the police, the sheriff department, the FBI, all of them it's a part of this, and one thing about it, you have a few maybe, might buck up or whatever like that, but basically most of them is a part of this, what's getting ready to come upon us. These draconian laws, these Tartarian law, you know what I'm saying? One thing about it, we already know it, we're seeing how things are constantly changing up left and right. We're seeing that they're, setting it up right before your eye. This place is coming, America is constantly and slowly becoming a police state. You will not be able to buy or sell. You will not be going to another city without having those credentials under your skin. So we're seeing right now that, they constantly putting these troops in these major cities across the U.S. And one thing about it, that, a lot of our people are playing game, and this devil is constantly setting up. While you're sleeping, the devil's constantly getting busy. So we see it right now that now they setting this stage for Civil War. Look at the movie Civil War, The Purge. It's a lead the world behind all these different things. It's getting ready to become a reality. So now, let's get a quick precept. Let's go here to 2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50, and then we'll get some more video. 2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50 says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So many great misery, many great sorrows, many great tribulation, many great death and destruction. It's getting ready to befall, what I'm saying, the 2/3, and also these heathen nations. So right now, in the latter time, which in fact is now, we're seeing that these prophecies right now speaking loud and clear. So let's read this once again. It says here, 2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50, for many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So a lot of people are very prideful. A lot of people don't fear the Lord. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people right now don't consider, not aware. And one thing about it, going on with their daily lives. And one thing about it, and many great misery is coming upon you left and right. And these evils are constantly growing left and right. And a lot of people still are not paying attention to the signs of the time. We are here. You know what I'm saying? Jacob's trouble is knocking at the door. So many great miseries, many great sorrows, many great mournings. You know what I'm saying? Death and destruction is coming. You know what I'm saying? It's coming at a fast pace. And we seeing right now that we are here. So let's get these last couple of videos, and we get a couple more presets, and we'll close out. Let's go here. Let's get this one here.
Traumatic. mass deportations in Boston, Washington, D.C., Miami, New York City, Denver, and San Antonio. These raids are scheduled to begin as soon as Tuesday. Now, the scale of the raids and the influx of ICE and CBP agents, however, is still in flux right now. Right now, the federal government simply does not have enough manpower to do what Donald Trump is trying to do. And the Pope has actually called out Donald Trump, saying that his mass deportation plan would be, quote, a calamity. But it's not going to stop him. It's going to start this week, and people in these metropolitan cities need to be aware that the raids are going to begin on businesses, on public areas, and more. And a national emergency will be declared shortly thereafter tomorrow.
Governor Abbott has announced that he will be sending state troops into Houston, Texas, our largest Texan city and the third most diverse city in the United States of America. And that is not a coincidence that he has chosen Houston as his starting ground. Now, let me first back up and say that this is not President Trump doing it at this point, although he has said that he plans to do it in every city. Washington, D.C. was his first experiment, and now he's doing Chicago. And we have seen, and if you haven't seen, please go look it up, what has been happening in Chicago when just 2 nights ago an apartment complex was raided. Men, women, children indiscriminately pulled out of their beds in the middle of the night, no warrant, Fourth Amendment rights violated, children zip-tied together on the streets in their night clothes, if they had any clothes on at all, because some people, sleep in their underwear or whatever, and the black residents in one van, the Hispanic residents in another van. That's what is happening in Chicago. Now, they are saying that they are keeping families safe. And you will see that that is what Greg Abbott is saying as well. I'm going to put up here the title of the YouTube video, so you can go look it up himself. Underneath the YouTube video is the transcript. I'm going to ask you to pay very close attention to his rhetoric. It's the same rhetoric used by Kristi Noem and the rest of the Trump administration regarding what they are doing, how they are justifying pulling people out of their homes. Okay, American citizens alike. They're saying that they are keeping communities safer by going after violent criminals. They keep repeating that. Dangerous criminals, repeat offenders. These are dog whistles. They sound nice. That's what a dog whistle does. It sounds nice so that they have plausible deniability. But when you're paying attention and putting it in context of everything else, you know that any one of us under this administration can be labeled a violent criminal at any time, including children sleeping in their beds in the middle of the night in Chicago. After the White House has signed the executive order and put out that press release saying that anti-fascist rhetoric is now, they're calling it terrorism, right? And this is right in parallel with certain 1940s regimes where politically dissonant ideologies, especially far left ideologies, were targeted. We're headed down that same road. I'm just making this video not to provide a solution, because I don't know what the solution is right now. Just to bring awareness. Houston is a beautiful city. It is the city that is home.
I'm on the way now. Let's go, dude. Move back. Touch me. Walk off the vehicle. Move back. Please move back. Move back. Come on. What you gonna do? Hey. Move back. Hey. Well, this isn't backing up for you. What? Step back. Step back. I'm on a public road.
He's not doing anything. You're seeing that. He's not doing anything. He's not. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not doing anything. Stand where I tell you to stand. I'm gonna stand right next.
Hello everyone, it's Alina. I want to take a moment and bring to you this breaking news coming out of Montgomery, Alabama. It is reported that yesterday there was a mass shooting, at least 2 dead and 12 injured after a shooting in downtown Montgomery, Alabama, police say. Here's what we know according to USA Today. Multiple gunmen opened fire in a large crowd downtown. leaving 2 dead, including a teenage boy, wounding a dozen others, authorities said. Montgomery Police Chief James Grabois said gunfire erupted around 11:30 p.m. local time Saturday, October 4th, in the city's nightlife district. Police believe one of the victims were targeted, but that several people began firing in the densely crowded area after initial shots rang out. It also says one individual got targeted and then an exchange of gunfire took place, he said. When that exchange erupted, multiple people in the crowd pulled their own weapons and started discharging. Here's what we know. Authorities identified the 2 dead victims as Jeremiah Morris, 17, and Shalonda Williams, 43. Both of Montgomery of the injured. 5 had life-threatening injuries and 7 had non-life-threatening injuries. 7 of the victims are under 20 years of age, and the youngest is 16, Grabois said. 2 of the injured people were armed. As we know, this is an ongoing investigation. Investigators are working to identify possible suspects. Montgomery Mayor.
Chicago gangs drew their line in the sand and they said if ICE crossed this line, it's on. Now, this is like a fever dream stitched into a news article, like Frozen versus Godfather type shit. Like, it doesn't seem real at all. Now, amidst all the chaos, I had a little whisper in my brain just about an hour ago, and I was thinking, is Donald Trump waiting for a justification to invoke martial law?
To all them young boys that think they can go up against America's military, right? Let me listen to Uncle real quick. Let me tell you something. Whatever you think y'all got, I promise you the military has it, though, even better. And I'm just as confused as to what type of personnel y'all think the military has, because the military do have, service members that are from the trenches, that are like that. So, and I'm not even the ones you need to worry about. The ones you need to worry about are them country white men that bleed red, white, and blue. Them the ones you need to worry about. The ones with them big old trucks, usually from Texas. They got America on it that bleeds red, white, and blue. Them the ones you need to worry about. And them boys like that, they don't need no switches. They don't need that. All they need is a green light. And even if you licensed to carry, they licensed to get rid of you. I'm just saying, so hey, look. Just listen to your uncle real quick. I'm just trying to educate you a little bit.
So now let's start today's lesson. We'll start here first. We're seeing right now that, we're at the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. So let's start here. Let's start here in Deuteronomy. We'll start here first, Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we'll start at verse 49. A quick lesson through the spirit and the power. And also, I think it's passed, I think it was another executive order where now they can deem you as a terrorist, so anyone that, go against, let's see what it was saying in that bill. It was saying if you go against their way of doing things, we put it like that, then you will be deemed as a terrorist. We already know that the men of the Lord, we already will be deemed as a terrorist. They're going to demonize us, whatever. We're not even worried about them because the Lord is going to be our strong tower in that time of trouble. So now, it started here. So we're seeing that things are constantly wrapping up. We're seeing chaotic events throughout these major cities. They're constantly heating up. Things are getting ready to escalate. Things are getting ready to to boil out, getting ready to go out of control. All hell is getting ready to break loose. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. It says here, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. It said, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle, said, flies a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50, it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. So we are right here now. So we seeing right now, we are in Babylon the Great right now. We in our last captivity, we're in the house of bondage. And a lot of people think they are free. A lot of people thinking that they don't have a enemy, which in fact are the truth there, going around here because you have rejected. Now the Lord will reject thee. So that's what's getting ready to happen, So right now, that fierce nation, You know what I'm saying? That, you know, that's as swift as an eagle. You know, it's talking about what Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? This man is getting ready to come. This is the revived Roman Empire. And the one thing about it, we already know, you know, that this man is getting ready to roll on you. And also he's the Lord's sword. He's getting ready to use this sword in a big way. You know, we already seen about in Chicago, you know, not regarding the young or old. And they don't give a damn. Zip tying the young people. I seen one video that they had like a 9 or 10-year-old little boy, you know, they had his hands behind his back. They had him zip ties up, and he was out there with some. I think he had some underwears on and a little old T-shirt. He pretty much almost naked, you know. And what they don't give a damn. So you know they constantly showing you, you know, that old ancient hatred is coming back. Let's read verse 50 again. Say, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. So they right here, they're not going to show no kind of pity or nothing, no respect. Let's read in the NLT. It's a fierce and heartless nation that show no respect for the old and no pity for the young. So that's what we're seeing in no video. You know, they shot a lady, don't show no regard. You know, they didn't give a damn because she was a female. She shot at them, they shot back. Even if it was someone was young, you know, he'd have to say it. You know, you already know it. They're going to allow a whole lot of cheering. They doing that right now behind the scene. But that's a whole nother story. So now let's go here to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah, because we're seeing right now that the northern tribe and the southern tribe is what? Oppressed together right here in what? Babylon the Great. You know, so I just read the curses first, you know, so, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 8, it'll tell you, you know, from verse 15 to 16, it'll tell you about the curses, you know, what will happen to us when we disobey, you know. So we under the curses right now until the Lord remove them, you know what I'm saying? But we know that the Lord slowly putting the curses on the other nations. So let's get here, Jeremiah chapter 50, I think it's 33, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hoping I'm trying to see, I think it's 33, if I'm not mistaken. See, but man, these things are just constantly popping up, one thing behind another. This is it here. It said, Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33 said, thus said the Lord of hosts, said the children of Israel, said, and the children of Judah were oppressed together. It said, and all that took them captives, said, held them fast. They refused to let them go. So right now, that's where we at right now. This devil's not going to let us go. You know, the Lord's going to have to come and deliver us, you know what I'm saying, from the east to the west. And everybody says right here, the children of Israel is talking about the northern tribe, and the children of Judah talking about the southern tribe were oppressed together. Where was they oppressed together? Babylon the Great, America. So, you know, the majority of the 12 tribes are right here in America. You know what I'm saying? The 1/3 and also the 2/3. So we see it right here. No, this man right here is not going to let you go. He wants to put you back in slavery again and make you a perpetual slave, and also give you that badge of servitude. So man, we're here, man. These things are right here at the door. Let's go here to Jeremiah. While we're in Jeremiah, let's go ahead and get Jeremiah chapter because we right here, Jacob's trouble. Let's go straight to the point. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7, because, man, this is going to keep coming up. I pretty much probably all this week. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7, because, man, this thing is popping, man. I'm very excited, but we so very close, man. Our salvation is at the door. It says here, Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7, says, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Now, about it, we're seeing right now, you know, you seeing right now that how the stage is setting, that things are getting ready to spiral out of control. So that day is going to be very great. We're already seeing now that, you know, they bucking up at the ICE patrol. Also, we're seeing the ICE patrol, they're not backing down, you know, and also they pointing their weapons. You know what I'm saying? You hardly ever seen that before. Now they get ready to show their true colors. And out about it says here, but say even the time of Jacob's trouble, you know, Jacob represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And out about we know that Jacob's name was later changed to Israel. And out about we already know who would be most in trouble. It's the Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indians. I'm talking to you. But he said, but he shall be saved out of it. It's talking about the elect, the 1/3 remnant, you know, that was loyal to the Lord over 2,000 years ago. But we know that all Israel will be saved. But this time when the Lord returned, that first resurrection, only the 1/3 election that the Lord is coming back for, the elect, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Let's read this in Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7 in NLT. Say, in all history, there has never been such a time of terror. Say, it will be the time of Jacob's trouble for my people Israel. Say, yet in the end, they will be saved. So right there, he's telling you, my people Israel. So, southern and northern tribes. So right now, they talking to the people of color. So it's obvious and clear who they're coming after. They're not coming out the white man, so they'll come out some of the poor white trash of white people, but but pretty much, they're not coming out a Chinese man, not coming out the Japanese man, the Arab man. They know exactly who they want. But one thing about it, but when they put their hands on the children of Israel, the Lord is going to lift up that standard. So that's what we're very close to. Spiritual power is right around the corner. These things are coming into play left and right. So let's get them right quick. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 59. So the Lord's going to have to lift up that standard, because one thing about it, we don't have any power. The Lord is going to have to, show forth this great glory and great power. It's it's Isaiah chapter 59, 59 and 19. I think I had it backwards. And it said 59 and 19. And we see right now that, if the Lord is not on your side, you will be unalive. Which is what we constantly warn you left and right. You cannot be able to defeat this man, because this is the Lord's sword. He has this military and this technology in his back pocket, but only for a short season. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard. And everybody, when you go into the word flood, going into a military flood. But the Lord's going to lift up that standard, a way to escape spiritual power. Things are getting ready to happen. We live in some very exciting times. So we already know now they sending these troops. Like pretty much a military flood is coming in, and the enemy is coming in. But just, we already know that things going to get popped. But as soon as they start to put in their hands on the Lord's chosen, the Lord is going to lift up that standard to protect us, to guide us, and sustain us. The Lord is getting ready to do a mighty work, and we cannot wait. So let's go here. Let's get a little bit more about this. Let's go here to Psalms, because we already know that we want the Lord to disappoint him, cast him down, which is thy sword. We're talking about the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. The Lord's going to have to cast this man down for us, man. We cannot wait. It says here, Psalm chapter 17 and verse 13 says, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And everybody, this man has getting ready to use it in a big way. We see that he's constantly coming, he's made it shit. He's constantly putting the military into place. This technology, drone, robotics, a lot of things are coming in. We seeing it happening right before our eyes. But that's why we want the Lord to cast him down, disappoint him, Lord, cut him off, get rid of him. That's what we want, left and right. So, we seeing right now, judgment is now at hand. We seeing that they're constantly, that great multitude is kindled over us, left and right. Let's go here to Ecclesiastes. Let's get a little bit more on about this sword. This man have power to unalive you. Because, he's the minister of the Lord. That's it. What we constantly warn you left and right. This man ain't no one to be played with, but just only for a short time. But it's not going to work out the way he think it's going to work out. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So we already know that, these things are constantly lining up, and we seeing that these nations are constantly turning against him left and right. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and chapter 9 and I think it's around 13. Yeah, this is what I want right here. Ecclesiastes, Sirach chapter 9 and verse 13 says, keep thee far from the man that has power to kill. Says, so shall thou not doubt the fear of death. Say, and if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. So remember that thou goest in the midst of snares or traps, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. So one thing about it's where we at right now. You know, this place is the shadow of you know, the valley of the shadow of death. You know what I'm saying? So we know that death is lurking on every corner, that your life is in doubt. You know, left and right. They hunt our stuff in the street. You know, one thing about it, you know what I'm saying? Don't, you know, we got to be careful, you know, when dealing with this man. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Lord said, agree with your adversary quickly. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, that this man has that power to unalive you. You know, he has that sword. And one thing about it, you know, you got to use wisdom, you know, in these times of trouble. Trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So let's get this last one. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go back to Jeremiah. We'll get one more. And this was, you know, the Lord's going to number a lot of people to the sword. This is exactly what's going to happen. These rebellious, wicked Israelite that, you know, the constant scoffing and mocking. These things are getting ready to come to an end. I think it's around verse 2, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. I think this is what I want right here. It says here, Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 2, it says, and it shall come to pass, so if they say unto thee, whether shall we go forth, then thou shalt tell them, thus said the Lord, such as are for the deaf to the deaf, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. So we see it right here. We here. You know what I'm saying? It said, verse 3 said, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, says the Lord. Said the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. So we coming back upon this time once again. You know, we seeing right now, you know, a lot of people, you know, have been attacked and eaten, pretty much torn apart by these dogs and different animals. So the Lord is calling these different judgment to come down. That's why the Lord said, I will choose your delusion. We're going to get that in a minute. So a lot of people are going to be numbered to the sword. A lot of people are going to be numbered to the famine, to death. You know, a lot of things get ready to happen. It's called Jacob's trouble. So I want to read this a little bit to let you know that the Lord's going to cause these things to come upon you. Let's get this last one right quick. So we're seeing right now that this chaos is constantly bringing out. And just once again, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Let's get this last one here. Let's go here to Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 4. It says here, Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 4 says, I also will choose their delusion, and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. So right here, you know what I'm saying, the Lord's going to choose your trouble. The Lord's going to choose your calamity, you know what I'm saying, your affliction, because, you know, you did not, you know, you are constantly what scoffing and mock. You turned your back on Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. That's now we seeing that the Lord is raising up that left hand. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, and also he's gonna raise up what Judah to get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Who shall rise him up? So we at these times, and we seeing right now that, you know, these YNs, you know, they talking about their switches and everything. Where y'all at? You know, they're in your neighborhood. They flooding your neighborhood. They coming in, you know, put zip ties on your women's and your children. Where are you at? You know, it's just like, you know, what are you going to do? And one thing about it, we already know it right now that, you know, that it's coming. We knowing that, you know, they setting these stages. And once again, this guy was saying that, you know, is they waiting on, are they trying to vote to try to bring forward this, what's called this military martial law. And that's what they want to do, is call martial law and lock down everything. And also we knowing that we still upon what government shutdown. So we got to see what comes of this week. And also is something was looming. I seen on some of these social sites about October the 7th. So, you know, we're going to constantly measure the time diligently. We're going to watch, we're going to pray, we're going to see what it's saying. But we're seeing right now that, you know, you can wake up in the morning, it could be bam, you know what I'm saying, war, you know, it could be war that broke out in one of these major cities, could be some type of explosion, anything, a massive casualty, you know, these mass shootings, these things are constantly wrapping up left and right. So that's what we're seeing. You know, but the Lord said, I would choose your delusion. You know, so we're seeing that judgment has started at the house of Israel, and it's going to pick up left and right. So, a lot of tribulation is coming, a lot of sorrow, a lot of death and destruction. So we're here. These things are constantly picking up. We already know about these that mass shooting in Alabama, you know what I'm saying? And also that I think they had a massive blackout in Italy. I think it was early part of the day. So a lot of things that keep happening, every time we turn it, left and right, that's why we got to constantly, watch, pray. We got to constantly meditate. We got to constantly ask the Lord to guide us in these times of trouble, because we going to need the Lord when these things pop off. But I done rambled long enough, but so the title of today's lesson, once again, is chaos in major cities across the U.S. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.